Hello, good morning, and welcome to another episode of Into the Afroverse. I'm your host, William Jones, and this is the place we are taking Black folks into the future. One of the reasons why I decided to do a show like this is because I wanted to challenge Black folks, Black people to think about what would life be like in the future. And I want us to start strategizing and planning what that's going to look like, because I think, in as much as we should talk about the past, and certainly that needs to be studied, we also need to think about and analyze what is it going to be like for us in the future. Another reason why I like doing this show is because I like to bring to you folks that are doing the work in our communities, but maybe you haven't heard from them or heard about them, but you're not knowing these names. And one such person is our guest today, Mr. Naseed Gifted. Naseed Gifted is the vice principal of Science Park High School in Newark, New Jersey. He is dedicated to inspiring young people to be science and technology leaders who excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact the community. A New Jersey native and New Jersey Institute of Technology, St. Peter's University, and NYU graduate. Gifted is also the founder of Newark's Comic Book Festival and Animation Film Festival, Chem Comic Fest and Chem Animation Film Festival. He is also a two-time Glyph Comic Awards Urban Action Showcase nominee and a 2020 Pioneer Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. 2021 I Can STEM New Jersey inductees, an engineer and writer who regularly travels across the country speaking about diversity and using comics to teach STEM. Something that was once a childhood hobby has catapulted into a passion to change the face of comics. His mission in graphic expression is to encompass a distinct balance between unprecedented storytelling and exceptional artwork. Published works include the self-published comic book series, PB Soldier, The Awakening, and Jason, The Rose That Grew from Concrete. Short stories include Occupy Renaissance City and Terrorist Act of 2011. And director-writer PB Soldier, The Awakening, short film and animated short. So once again, I'd like to introduce you to and welcome Naseed Gifted. How you doing, Naseed?
Peace, man. How you doing? I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, man. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming. I truly appreciate you showing up and sharing your work. Because like I said, I've known you for some time, and I know the great work that you're doing in the community, and I just want more people to know about the work that you're doing. I want to start with your work in education.
Yes.
As an educational leader, go ahead.
Well, before you start, I just wanted to know, like, the guy that you were just describing, was that me? Because sometimes I'll be wondering, like, man, is that all the stuff that I'm doing right now? And and then some, brother.
Nah, that is great. And yes, it is you. It is you. I know this is Afrofuturistic, but it is you. You're not existing in two spaces at the same time. It is definitely you, man. And my hat's off to you for the work you've been doing and continue to do in New Jersey, and really with your reach, I would argue across the globe, because, this is no longer, a small world that we live in because of the technology and the science that we have available to us. When you're putting in the work, folks on the other side of the planet are seeing what you do. So I salute you.
Man, thank you. I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah. So like I said, man, I wanted to start off with your work in education. What is it that moved you into that field? And what is it that you're seeking to accomplish in addition to what we just talked about, or what how I introduced you? What are you looking to accomplish when it comes to the young people?
Well, I mean, two things. First of all, a lot of people don't know I'm an engineer by trade. So engineers are problem solvers, right? That's the discipline that I studied. I actually worked in the engineering field for a number of years before transitioning into education. So that training, that background and everything is really how it allows me to be able to navigate these other spaces, when we get into the metaverse, when we get into Afrofuturism, we get into the comic, animation, and gaming realm. So that has always been something that I always fall back on.
Mhm.
And the reason that I actually even want to even work with young people, because I really had a super passion of raising the next generation of technology leaders. That was my whole thing. And I almost got stuck in it. I mistakenly got into education because of 9/11, but I found the love and a fulfillment within the young people that I was looking to inspire each and every day, and continue to be within education within the last 25 years now.
Wow, that's really interesting. How did 9/11 get you into education?
Well, for me, um, I was a young man, you know, growing up in an urban city, uh, single parent home, poor, poor in the sense that we didn't have a whole lot, right? So I go to school, I go to college, and I get this degree. Once I get the degree, I'm working as an engineer. I'm an instant thousandaire. For some
Right.
people, I'm an instant thousandaire. And to me, that was a whole lot of money because coming from almost nothing and just building from there, I was able to, you know, uh, obtain a lot of things, and then I didn't have any children. I had no a whole lot of responsibilities. So during that time, I worked for a few years, and then with that, I saved a large amount of money within a short period of time. And at that point, I said, "Hey, wanna let me see about starting to travel." I didn't have spring break like everyone did,
Right.
where they going to Cancun and doing all
Right.
those things. I didn't get to do those things. I was a part of National Society of Black Engineers. I used to go to these conferences that was across the country, but that's where I got my little travel bug from. And from there, I said I'm gonna take a little hiatus because I was able to save so much money, and I'm gonna travel the world. So while I was doing that, that was June 2011. I
Mhm.
mean, excuse me, no, that was June 2001. I'm sorry, 2001. While I was taking this hiatus and I'm traveling the world, I go to Senegal, I go to uh, Colorado, go to Vegas, I go to London, I go to all of these different places within a 4 month period. During that time, 9/11 happened,
Okay.
and the industry where it was so abundant, where I would put a resume out and I would get 5 callbacks, you know, or just recently shrunk. So after, yeah, I mean, even after 9/11, I'm still traveling, and I
Right.
still living off my savings, and I had this plan on playing the stock market and doing my business. I had a clothing line and all this stuff at that time. Um, and then I said, oh wow, like my money's running low. I'm putting these resumes out, and no one's really giving me a call back. So I started to be a substitute teacher.
Gotcha.
As I was being a substitute teacher, man, I just fell in love with the young people, and I've been in education ever since.
That's amazing. Well, that's definitely the community's gain. Now, in terms of your work in education, you're out in
Yes,
New Jersey, you're working with the young people. What do
yes,
you see in terms of the challenges? Because one of the things we hear about is getting young Black people involved in STEM fields. What
yes.
has been the greatest challenge for you as an educational leader in guiding young Black people into those fields?
Well, I mean, one of the things that we definitely face a challenge with is exposure,
Mhm.
because most in the urban communities there's a limited amount of opportunities out there that most of our young people are exposed to. So they don't know about the various STEM engineers. They know doctors, they know lawyers, they know firemen and everything else. And then, of course, the rappers, basketball players, and stuff that they've been exposed to. But they don't know that the thousands of opportunities behind the movies that are STEM related. That's happening. But like the games that you're playing, there's a number of opportunities there. So being able to expose them to those different opportunities have been something that I've been working on. But also, one of the things just as we talk about barriers is their not their love for the math and sciences.
Mhm.
So trying to break through that barrier, because a number of the STEM fields has a heavy lift within the math and science. So if you are good in math, generally you get pushed along in the system. But if you're not generally good in math, then you kind of lean more towards a liberal arts type of field. And that's pretty much how the educational system kind of does those things. But I've been able to expose young people who, I remember a young man who was one of my students. He was an average math student. Okay. But once I exposed him to robotics and everything, and he understood what engineers do, and got that buzz going, he worked on his craft, and then he ends up, when he's in college, he's running a tutoring center. Now he's a mechanical engineer working down in Detroit for a high-level firm and everything. But it all started with, just one experience that he had, and being able to take that and just, get activated, and from there just kind of run. Because one of the things that statistics always state is that, the mathematics is what keeps our young, 65% of individuals who take on a STEM major usually change their major while they're in college, because of the high level maths that they have to take. When you get into your differential equations, the DPQ, calc 1, 2, 3, and then differential equations, and then you think you're done with math, and then especially if you're an engineering major, now you're taking these engineering courses that require this high level math as well. And that sometimes has been a barrier for some people to be able to pass that successfully. So being able to build those foundations in algebra, because that's where the foundation comes from, and then being able to build from there also gets people excited. And then taking that and then throwing in the sciences and the technologies and everything else that's side into it, that has been definitely one of the barriers, but it's something that we are looking to address, on multiple levels, and using multiple vehicles to be able to do that.
Excellent. Now, one of the ways that you've been able to do this, and if you're just joining us, this is Into the Afroverse with William Jones on WOLB 1450 AM, 95.9 FM, and you can also catch us online at WOLDCnews.com, where information is power. Today, we are joined by Naseed Gifted, and you were talking about the work that you're doing as far as getting young people involved in STEM, your work at Science Park High School in Newark, New Jersey. One of the strategies you've used is to actually incorporate comic books into your lessons. You've been using this as like a way to get folks involved. Could you speak a little bit to that, please?
Yes. So one of the vehicles that we talk about, and we talk about activating STEM and the STEM fields, is most people are that Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence speaks to how people learn. And one of the things that happens and why mathematics and sciences become so hard for our young people or even adults is because when we start off with math is visual. Math is a manipulative, is actually kinesthetic learning that you're doing because you can manipulate it. As you move up, it becomes more abstract. So you can't develop these mental models that you would definitely have, moving forward. So you can't see the math as well as apply the math that's going on or the science. So what we've been doing using comics, of course, is a visual media. So being able to take complex topics and be able to develop those mental models is one of the strategies that we've been using to be able to break down complex topics. And then also the research also states of how you could be able to use this not only because boys and girls enjoy the medium, but being able to take a reluctant reader and turn them into an advanced learner, and then take advanced learners and be able to move them even further into the learning because it's a deeper dive into the learning. Because what textbooks do, and one of the research studies that I was looking at pretty much states that if someone was given a graphic novel with regards to kinematics in physics, and then also using that same textbook, when they both take the assessment, right? One thing that happens is The individuals in the study who were using the textbook, they were able to be successful, depending on their study habits and everything. But the individuals who were using the graphic media or the graphic novel aspect of it were able also to be successful, but also when we talk about retention and going deeper into the learning. So being that they learned it in a visual standpoint, they not only understood and understand the actual concepts, is actually activated them to want to dive deeper into the content. And then because of that, now they also have a level of retention where the individuals who are learning it from the textbook only learned it for the particular assessment that they're doing and then moved on. And it's almost like the whole typewriter thing where they finish the assessment and it's like ching, and then there's moving on to the next topic and everything. But we talk about retention and everything else, being able to dive deeper into the learning. That's what the graphic media has been able to do. So I have a whole case what I did with my son to be able to transform him from a reluctant reader into an avid and advanced reader, just by using graphic novels and comics as well.
Now, I can already imagine that folks are listening right now and their antennas going up, and they may have a young person in their family that, dealing with these issues, and they're saying, well, how can I reach you? So tell us, how can folks find you? Because you say here that you're going out across the country speaking on this topic. How can folks contact you?
Well, I mean, I'm available on various platforms. On LinkedIn, of course, I'm Naseed Gifted. That's Naseed, Gifted, just like it sounds. But most people think it's Gibson or something else, but it's Gifted. So it's gifted like present, gifted. And on social media, also available via KhemFest. That's KhemFest, and PBS Media Studios. That's P as in Peter, B as in Bob, S as in Sam, Media Studios. So you can reach me on all of those platforms there. And that's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Excellent. So you mentioned KhemFest. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
KhemFest is, well, first of all, we're going into our 8th annual, so we are super, super excited about it. It's going to happen September 23rd to the 25th, and it's a celebration. It's a celebration of Black animation, gaming, and comic book creators. This is our 8th year of doing this actual festival, but it's a way for us to be able to not only expose our Black and brown children to the STEM careers that's associated with them and their passion for comic books, for animation, as well as game designing. Instead of just being consumers, we want them to be creators. And this has been the stomping grounds or the training grounds for that. And that's where we have the now generation be able to meet and activate that next generation of creators or innovators.
Excellent. And where is this located?
This is located in Newark, New Jersey. We actually have a Afrofuturism Art and Tech Gallery that we just opened, where we're going to be hosting this year's festival. It's called The Future is Black, which is downtown Newark at 609 Broad Street, right downtown Newark.
Excellent. And how can folks assist you? Folks hearing this and say, man, I want to contribute to this. I want to help build this brother up and his institution up. How can folks assist you in bringing this to fruition and getting this out to the community?
Well, one of the things that we're doing currently is we have a Kickstarter campaign where we are raising funds for our STEM initiatives that we have. So we're looking to develop these next generation of creators and innovators. But through that, we need equipment. We need computers. We need all of these things. So we actually have the space. We've been working with young people throughout the summer here, but we want to be able to do much, much more. We want them to be game developers. We want them to be animators and everything and have that training ground. And we have the facilities to be able to do that. So we actually launched a Kickstarter campaign that is now in progress for them to be able to support our efforts. And we have a number of nice rewards, but one of the biggest things that we're going to be doing in August is we're going to have a Wakanda ball, Wakanda in Newark. So we want to bring Wakanda to Newark because we talk about Afrofuturism. We think of Wakanda. And with Wakanda, we're going to have a Wakanda ball where you're going to be able to dress as if you are in 2040. You know, we want you to think in a future sense, because the future is where it is. And that's why the name of the space is The Future is Black. And we always want to think of how we are going to be able to write and narrate our future, and then think in a future sense for the kids now. Because when I think of children, I think of the COVID babies, right? So the kids from 2020 in the year 2024, in 2040, those kids will be 20 years old.
Right.
So how are we, pouring into those young people now? Or what vehicles are we building for them to be able to access all of this technology and everything and not be left behind? Because the jobs that we have and the opportunities that we have right now are not going to be available for them in the future. So we got to make sure that we stay innovative and stay cutting edge and keep them trained up so they can be able to participate in these various things that's going to be going on within the society.
And see, this is what I like about Afrofuturism. This is why I think that this school of thought is so important, because yes, now we're talking about 2040. We're looking at job projections. We're looking at what are our young people going to be doing 20, 30, 40 years from now. And that's why these conversations are so important. Naseed, as always, man, when I have these great conversations with folks, the time goes so quickly. And as we're coming up against the end of this conversation, are there any final thoughts or words that you want to share with our audience?
Well, one of the things that we always want to reiterate is there's three concepts. We want you to conceive, believe, and achieve. We want you to conceive something in your mind. We want you to believe it in your heart, and then you can achieve it with your hands. So if you take those three concepts and you apply those to anything that you're doing in life, you can achieve whatever your heart and hope desires. And then also, please make sure you contribute to our Kickstarter. We're looking to do some really, really powerful things in the community, not only for this community, but we're also building an actual metaverse aspect of it, where we're going to be able to, touch more individuals across the nation and across the world.
Excellent. And one more time, how can folks reach you?
So you can reach me through various avenues. One, of course, is my name, Naseed Gifted. That's on LinkedIn, Facebook, as well as on Instagram. So Naseed Gifted, that's Naseed. And then also on the social media platforms, we are PBS Media Studios. That's P as in Peter, B as in Bob, S as in Sam, Media Studios. And then KimFest, at KimFest, that's KHEMFEST. So those are the platforms that we're definitely on. And then, of course, if you want to support the Afrofuturism graphic novel series, PB Soldier, we're at PB Soldier as well, at PB Soldier.
Well, once again, brother, I want to thank you for joining us today. Hats off to you, and I salute you and your work. So, folks, there it is, Naseed Gifted. You got the information. Once again, if we want to talk about building a community, we have to support people like this. We have to support institutions like this. So you have the information. Be sure to support Naseed Gifted and all his undertakings. So once again, this is Into the Afroverse with William Jones, where we're taking Black folks into the future. Because as you're watching the news right now, you see what's coming down the pipe. You see what they have in store for us. So we need these conversations. We need these institutions. We need people like Naseed Gifted and others that are out there actually doing the work, not just the rhetoric, but the actual work, the brick and mortar work, the tangible work. This is what we need moving forward. And once again, this is why Afrofuturism and the conversations that it's eliciting are so important. So if you're not familiar with Afrofuturism, keep tuning in. I'm going to keep bringing you great guests like this. And if you want to support what we're doing here, you can go to afrofuturismnet.com. You can also find me on Facebook under William Jones. You can also find it under Afrofuturism Network. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter. So one more time, Brother Gifted, thank you for joining me today.
No, thank you. Thank you. And if you're ever in Newark, New Jersey, please visit our space. The Future is Black, Afrofuturism Art and Tech Gallery, 609 Broad Street in Newark, New Jersey.
There you have it, folks. Signing off, WOLB 1450, 95.9 FM, 1450 AM. Information is power. This is Into the Afroverse your host, William Jones. You have a good day.